ticket and our visa, we moved to Australia early last year. Oh, just a side note, we actually rented a car so that we can drive from our place to Auckland Airport, and we actually ended up staying in Novotel Airport as well. Because when you have a small child, you want your travel to be a bit easier. So it was a lot easier for us if we just stayed overnight in a hotel and then fly the following day. And then there's a ticket there of the expenses of the plane ticket and the check-in luggages that we have. I think meron kami siguro mga six six luggages. No, medyo extreme, medyo OA. Pero anyway, I just put it there just to share, just a point of reference. I think because when I was planning our move from New Zealand to Australia, it was difficult to find actual costs. So I wasn't really sure, are we spending a lot? Can we still spend a little bit more? For sure, yung hirap mag-budget kasi wala talagang budget that time. But I'm just sharing all the actual expenses to you as well, just so you have an idea as well. You don't have to spend as much. Obviously, your situation will be different if you have kids or if you're moving by yourself, but I just want to share like the actual numbers if that would help your budgeting as well. So for this one, this was a premium economy plane ticket, and then it's for 6 to 7 luggages that we brought with us. And then in terms of our visa, we are New Zealand citizens, so we actually have a subclass visa 444, so that allows us to stay in Australia indefinitely without having to actually, I guess, physically apply for a visa. So it's just automatic that as soon as we landed on Brisbane Airport, it was just automatically applied to us. So your situation may be different if you are not a New Zealand citizen. I left the immigration website here, Australian immigration website, but just know that it can be really overwhelming. So you know how in New Zealand, ang dali lang kasi parang visitor visa, work visa, resident visa, di ba? Parang ganun lang yung categories. However, in Australia, they have different work visas. Mga 482, tapos may mga 186, mga ganyan. So it's, I guess, if you are in the early stages of your planning, do take some time to read the different visas, join different Facebook groups as well, and ask around. Kasi it can be overwhelming in the beginning, and then you're not sure which one to apply for. Yeah, yun lang. But straightforward if you are a New Zealand citizen, it's definitely more straightforward in that sense. The next thing we kind of planned for is a car rental and temporary accommodation. So we booked a car. I think we were while we were staying in Novotel Hotel the night before our flight to Brisbane, because my husband actually forgot to book us a rental car. So anyway, we ended up with booking for this bargain car rentals. I still feel like it's really expensive, but because we were in a hurry, that's the best that we could get. And then it cost $323 Australian dollars, and then just a side note there, 323 plus we also had to pay for car insurance and toll fee. I can't remember how much it cost, but just to add that we actually paid extra, so it's a bit higher than that. And then my mouse stopped working. Hold on. And then the the temporary accommodation that we booked, I got that before, I think maybe 3 weeks before our flight. And it's really expensive because during that time when we moved to Australia, there's actually a rental crisis. Even up to now, actually, there's a rental crisis. So we didn't really know anyone in Brisbane who can look after us or like give us a have a place to stay during that time. So it was just really challenging. So we ended up booking for a one-bedroom apartment because we couldn't really find an actual long-term accommodation while we were in New Zealand. Mind you, I've met someone from Auckland, and then she said that before moving to Brisbane, she was very lucky because they actually found a one-bedroom house. So they secured that before their flight, but we were not so lucky, so we had no choice but to book to this like hotel, which ended up being more expensive only because that's the setup, because it's a temporary accommodation. And then we also had to pay extra for car park, and then in total we stayed there for 14 days. So mas mataas pa dyan yung binayaran namin. So it's not really as practical. So again, if you are moving to Australia, do take some time to research about the accommodation. There is a rental crisis right now. Um, and then it's really difficult if you don't know anyone. So I have few friends who moved from New Zealand to Queensland, and then this couple, they stayed with another friend's house, and then the friend I know from New Zealand to New South Wales, they also have their relatives, so they stayed in their home for a short period of time. So it definitely helps if you know someone because you can stay in their house. Otherwise, if you're like us, I pray that you find a long-term accommodation suitable for your family so you don't have to spend as much. Yeah. And in terms of buying a car, I have already created a video about this, but the only thing that I might talk more on, converting New Zealand driver's license to Australian driving license, it was relatively easy. So I just provided my proof of ID and proof of where we were staying at that time, and yeah, it was enough to convert the driving license. I talked about the fees and more of that in the video shown in the screen below, so please have a look at that if you haven't watched it already. And then in terms of lending companies, just know that depending on which company you're going to apply for a loan for the car, their requirements will be different. So I've already touched this on the last live video that I've done. Pero kasi minsan may mga iba pa rin nagugulat na parang ang bilis naming nakuha yung car loan because, oh sorry, let me translate that. So I'm not sure if you can understand Tagalog, but from time to time I would slip and talk in Tagalog, but I'll try to translate. So I still get asked about the lending companies because some are surprised that we got our car loan with just a one fortnight payslip. We're just providing one fortnight of our payslip. But it really depends on the tier level of the lending company. So for example, your first tier lenders are typically your major banks such as Commonwealth Bank, Westpac, ANZ, and National Australia Bank. They are considered the most financially stable and have a wide range of products and services available to customers. However, they're also more, I guess, strict with the requirements. So when I applied for a car loan with ANZ, they asked us for 3 months worth of payslip. But unfortunately, I only had like 2 weeks to sort everything out because I am starting my job then. I only had like 2 weeks to sort everything out. So I couldn't really wait 3 months. So there's an option, a second tier lender. They are generally considered to be regional and customer-owned banks. They are not as large as the major banks, but they still have a significant presence in the Australian banking market. And then there are third-tier lenders, which are small financial institutions and non-bank lenders. So examples here would be your First Mac, La Trobe, Liberty, and Pepper Money. They are typically, but not always, have higher interest rates on loans. And for us, we actually went with Pepper Money, and it's really the interest rate is really high. So for example, depending on the car yard where you're going to buy your car, I had to pay for a $700 deposit and then 9% interest rate on a and then the requirement is only one fortnight payslip. So isang fortnight lang. And then with my husband, he was asked to provide $500 deposit and then 13% interest rate, one fortnight payslip. And that's with Pepper Company as well. So see, the interest rate is really high. But yun nga, kasi for us, we really needed to have a car, and then we couldn't really pay it outright, so we had to apply for a car loan. And during that time, um, I really don't have the time wasn't really on our part. So, yun. Kaya ganun yung nangyari sa amin. So, may mga iba naman, no, you get different options. For example, some people, they buy parang cars that they can pay right off. Yung they can pay with the cash that they have on hand. So that could be an option for you as well. Aba, bongga ka, di ba? You can, malay mo naman, di ba? Kaya ng budget mo. You pay your car right off. Di go ahead. Otherwise, yun nga, you can go and apply for a loan, for a car loan. And then, yun nga lang, it depends sa'yo kung if you want to wait for 3 months, have that 3 months worth of payslip, and then mas maka-apply ka sa mga big banks. Otherwise, may mga option for third-tier lenders. However, the interest rate can be higher. And one thing I note as well, when we were looking for cars, the cars here in Australia, they are a lot more expensive. That's just my opinion anyway. They're a lot more expensive. And then I think in my previous video, I've also talked about this. There was also like strong demand for small cars. Kaya parang ang hirap humanap ng options mo during that time, especially in Queensland. I'm not sure if that's still the same. But best for you to look around on different website, and then you can compare for the prices.